Good morning, all. Hope I'm audible. Please message your attendance in the chat window. So I see some of you don't have display pics, and for Angel, it is something else. So please change that to your original picture. So Vishnu Vishnath is here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the algorithm?
Hmm?
Algorithm means what?
Set of instructions designed to perform.
Okay. So Trasa Sebastian. Trasa Sebastian is here.
Ma'am.
Okay. What is a
Hello, ma'am.
flowchart? What is a flowchart?
Flow starting of algorithm. Uh, algorithm.
Maybe Trasa, you are having some kind of network issue. It is okay. Thomas. Thomas is
Yes,
here.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What is a flowchart?
It is a diagrammatic representation of sequence of logical step of a program.
Okay, fine. Tirtha.
Yes, ma'am.
Tirtha is here.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the first step of a flowchart?
Start.
Yeah, correct. Surya. Surya is here.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the symbol that is used to represent the input and the output?
Rectangle.
Input and output?
Ma'am, I don't remember.
Zahan is here.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the symbol that is used to represent the input and the output?
Rectangle with a circle coverage rectangle ended with a curve shape.
Input and the output. Vismaya. Hello?
Parallelogram.
Yeah, correct. It is the parallelogram. Surya Prakash. Surya.
Yes, ma'am.
For what rectangles are being used?
I don't know, ma'am.
Sonu.
Yes,
Sonu
ma'am.
is here. What is the purpose of rectangle in a flowchart?
For processing statements.
Yeah, correct. So I think some of you are going through what I teach and others are not learning it. So all of you have to go through whatever is being taught in a day. And if you don't study it systematically, when I start programming and all, maybe for students who have come from programming background, they might not face much issue. But for others, you might not be able to follow what I'm teaching. So a systematic learning is expected and it is required. So we'll move on to the topic for today. So this is where we had stopped. So sum of numbers up to a given limit. So that means I need to give a limit and I need to add that. That is just a second. So if I give the limit as 10, I need to add what? I need to add 1, 2, 3, etc. up to 10. That is the expected result. Okay. So if I try to draw the flow chart, as you people have told me already, the first step would be the start symbol. So we'll start with the start symbol. After that, I need to do what? What would be the second step? Siddharth Shamla, what should be the second step? Siddharth Shamla is here.
Hello.
Yeah. What should be the second step?
Initialize I0.
No, before that.
Read the limit.
Yeah, correct. So I need to read the limit. I should take an input. That would be my limit, right? Because limit can be anything. It can be a 10 or it can be 50. It can be 100. So whatever the user wants to give as the input, that would be as the limit. That should be read. So the second would be to read the limit as n. Now what you have to do is you need two variables. I'll tell you what is the purpose of that. So anyway, that is being initialized as 1 and you need to have some variable called as sum that is initialized to 0. So suppose I am giving the limit as 5. So see, I am taking the limit as 5. My expected result is this, right? So I need to add 1 and 2. I will be getting 3. Then I will be adding what? 3. That is this 3. Then I need to add what? 1 and 2 I have added. So I will be expecting 3 plus 3, right? So that would be 6. So I'll take 6 here. So again, I'll have to add 4. So that will be my 10. So 10 I will take. So 10 plus 5, I have 15. So this is my expected result. Is it okay? Have you understood? If you have understood, please message in the chat. So the output I am expecting from the program is, or from the flowchart, it is 15. So Sandesh is okay, okay, fine. So you can see that this is my expected result. So I have initialized my sum is equal to 0. So this is my first step. That is sum is initialized to 0. This sum which I need to calculate is initialized to 0. So my first step that I'll be doing is, I'll tell y that I is less than equal to n. So here you can see that I have initialized my sum is equal to 0. So what I'm trying to do is, first is sum is equal to, my sum has been initialized to 0. So we'll be having 0 and I have initialized my I is equal to 1. So I'll be having 0 plus 1 that is equal to 1. So that would be what is happening here in the first case. Now what I do is I will be incrementing my I. So I is equal to I plus 1. So initially I was 1. The next case it will be 2. Understood? So I need total, I will be having how many steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Understood? So I'll have to repeat it 5 times in order to reach this 15. So that means I'll have to keep my I less than or equal to n, because it is n is 5 and I should reach 5. So I'm repeating it 5 times and ultimately I'll be getting 15. If I reach that limit, that is 5, I'll be coming out of that loop. So I'll be displaying the sum and I'll be stopping it. So have you understood how it is done? So if it is okay, please message in the chat. So this this is I less than or equal to n. So this I will be calling it as our iteration variable. In our programming language, we'll be calling it as iteration variable, or you can say it is our looping variable. It is just I. You can use any name that you want to. You can use it as J, K, whatever you want to, you can use. For the time being, I have used it as I. So if it is okay, we'll move on. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So how many times I have to repeat to reach the output? That is the condition that I'll be setting here. So please draw the flow chart. If you have already drawn it yesterday, please update it and let me know in the chat when you finish it. So, okay, some of you have completed it. I'll wait till 11:14. So I think it is okay to move on. So now what I need to do is I need to display the result of a student based on the marks of 3 subjects. So marks of every subject should be at least 45 to be considered as pass. So we have to read 3 marks and we need to check whether the marks is at least 45 or not. So what I'll have to do is, again, I have to start with my start. Then what would be the next step? So I'll ask someone. Siddharth Keshav, what should be the next step?
Mark of the 3 subjects in
Yeah, correct.
read it.
So, yeah, correct. So I'll have to read the marks of the 3 subjects, that is M1. I will read it into 3 variables, M1, M2, and M3. Now, after that, what should be the third step? So remember that programs can be written in different ways. So we are going to use one of the logic, that is it. So Sean Shaji, what should be the next step? Sean is here.
Don't know, ma'am.
Shalvin. Shalvin
Don't know,
Matthew.
ma'am. Correct അറിയില്ല.
Saranga.
I don't know, ma'am.
Sandesh. Sandesh is here? Sandesh is not here. Should I mark you as absent, Sandesh? Okay, mic is not working, Sandesh. Okay, fine. What should be the next step, Sandesh? You can message in the chat. If you know, you can message that. If you don't know, you can message that also. It is okay. Okay, fine. Sayanth.
Ma'am, അറിയില്ല ma'am.
Okay, Prithvin.
Check whether M1, M2, M3 are greater than 45.
Yeah. So not greater than, it should be at least 45. So if it is equal to
Yes.
45 also, it would be considered as a pass, right? So what you have to do is you need to put a condition block in order to, okay, I have also written it like that. It should be at least means it should be equal to. So that would be the first block. So M1 is at least 45 means it should be at least 45. So if I check my M1 is greater than or equal to 45, can I consider the student as pass? Anaga?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I directly, that is, I have checked whether M1 is greater than or equal to 45, that is at least 45. Can I consider the student as pass or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll check M1 greater than or equal to 45 and I can directly display pass. Is it what you're seeing?
No, ma'am. Ella subjects വേണ്ടേ?
Yeah. So what should be the next step? Anaga, what should be the next step?
Ma'am. M2 greater than 45.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it should be that, because again, remember that it can be done in a single step, but we have split it into different steps. So M2, I'll check whether it is greater than or equal to 45, because M1 was greater than or equal to 45. That condition is met. That means I can go and check whether my M2 is greater than or equal to 45. Then what I will do is I'll check M3 is greater than or equal to 45. Now what should I do? What should be the next step? That would be Nigel. Nigel, what should be the next step? Nigel is here. Neha, what should be the next step?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Naveen, what should be the next step? Naveen is here or not?
Yes, ma'am.
What should be the next step?
Don't know, ma'am.
Nandana, what should be the next step?
Yes, మూడు కండిషన్ సాటిస్ఫై అయినప్పుడు డిస్ప్లే చేయడం అనేది స్టాప్ చేయాలి.
Display?
డిస్ప్లే చేయడం స్టాప్ చేయాలి.
Okay.
Pass or fail.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this case, what should I display? Whether I should display pass or fail?
మూడు కండిషన్ సాటిస్ఫై అయితే yes, pass.
Yeah. So I can directly display pass because I have satisfied all the conditions. Now, suppose my condition is not true in the first case. That is, my marks is less than 45 means what I will do is I will directly display fail and I can stop. Same thing happens, can occur in M2 or in M3. So in all those cases, I should display fail and I should stop. So is it okay? If it is okay, please message in the chat. So I'm happy that you have understood, but I think you people are storing it in your memory, main memory. Don't store your information in your main memory, store it in your secondary memory, in your brain. You have both RAM memory as well as secondary storage in your brain. So store it in your secondary storage, that is, you will not forget it. So next day when I ask, it should be there. So tell me when you have completed the flowchart, please message in the chat. So Karthik, Albert, Sandesh has completed. What about others? Okay, Anseli. So I think I'll wait till 11:22. So Ashwin, have you completed it? Ashwin has messaged no, ma'am. Not Ashwin K, Ashwin M, I think. So Ashwin, complete it and let me know. So I guess it is okay to continue. So next is I need to swap two numbers using a temporary variable. So here also what I'll do is the aim of my program is I have say A is equal to 10 and I have B is equal to say 20. Now after I do this program, what the result that I'm expecting is A should be displayed as 10 and B is equal to, A is equal to 20 and B is equal to 10. That is what the expected result is. That is the meaning of swapping. So here also the first step would be again start. Then what I'll do is I'll have to read two numbers. Anyway, I have to store these numbers. So I'm using N1 and N2 for that. After that, what I will have to do is I'll have to swap it. That is, whatever was stored in A should be replaced by whatever is stored in B. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to use a third variable. So before doing that, I am just displaying this result. So I'm displaying this, display the numbers N1 and N2 before swapping. Then I'll use a third variable, say temp is equal to N1. So what is happening now? Temp is equal to 10. In our example, I'm storing that temp as whatever is stored in N1. So I'll take these two numbers. So in that case, temp is equal to 10. Now what I can do is I can use my N1 to store something else because whatever was initially stored in N1 has been stored in a third variable. Now what I'll have to do is I'll store whatever is N2 into N1. So you can see that N2, if it is this, I'll take that and I'll store it in N1. Now what I'll have to do, what would be the third step? I'll ask someone. Nachiketas, what should be the third step?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
N1 is equal to temp, upper N1 is equal to temp is equal to N2 out. Temp is equal to N2.
Remember what I'm doing. I'm assigning it from here to here. This is how I'm assigning, right? From this to this. So the third step would be?
അറിയില്ല മാം.
Mufas, what should be the next step?
Ma'am, n2 equal to 10.
Yeah, correct. So the third step would be n2 is equal to 10 because we have stored the initial value here. So what I can do is n2 is equal to 10 means whatever is in 10 will come and it will be saved into my n2. So this is the meaning. I'm assigning it from here to here. So whatever was initially in 10 will come into n2. Now if I display n1 and n2, I'll be getting this result. So after that, I can stop. Have you got the logic? Is it okay? If it is okay, you can message in the chat. If you have any doubts, you can ask that. So, okay, I guess it is okay. So please draw this flowchart also and let me know in the chat box. So Ashwin has completed. Okay. Sandesh and Maria Abhirami. I'll wait till 11:28. So I hope you have completed this. Next is I need to find the largest of three numbers. So you know already how to find the largest of two numbers. Now we'll see how you can find out the largest of three numbers. So in order to do or to find largest of three numbers, Matthew Abhijit is here. I mean, Matthew, are you here or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So for this one, do you think looping would be required?
If statement is used, if which is used.
Yeah, correct. It can be done by using if condition. Loop iterations are not required here because we have only a small set of numbers, that is three numbers. So we can directly do it. So what I'm doing is, again, we can do it in different ways, but I'll be following one of the logic. So again, we need to start it. Then what should be the next step? Don't say, I'll ask someone. Maria has some net issues, I think. Are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
What should be the next step?
Read the three numbers.
Yeah, correct. So what we'll be doing is we'll be reading the three numbers A, B, and C. So I have read three numbers. Now what I can do is I need to find out which is the largest number. So say my numbers are 10, then I have 50, then say I have read it as 20. So this is the case. In this case, what should be the output that should be displayed? Malavika. What should be the number that should be displayed as the largest number in this case? It is a nursery question, but still I'm asking it.
50.
Yeah, 50. So expected result is this. That is, I should be able to display 50 as my largest number. That is the aim of my program. So what I can do is, initially anyway, I will read the first number, then the second number, then the third number. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll take one more variable and I'll say my first number is the largest. Okay. So I'm taking a third variable and I'm saying that my first variable, whatever I have read, is my largest. Now what I need to do is I will check. I have already read my B and my C. Now I need to compare this large and my second number. So in this case, I'm comparing my large and my 50. In that case, what should be done, Karthik?
A greater than 50.
Yeah, in that case?
The largest number
Yeah,
is
yeah, correct. So I need to put a condition, that is correct. So I'll check whether my condition is, that is not A, because I have already taken my A as my large. So I need not worry about this because this value is already in my large. So what I will do is I will compare this one and the second one. That is what is done here. Okay. So suppose this condition is true. That is, say here it was 50 and here it was 10. If this is the case, I need to keep 50 as my large, right? Because 50 is anyway greater than 10. So if that condition is true, what I'll do? I'll keep it as it is, and I'll need, what should be the next step? Joseph?
Yes, ma'am.
What should be the next step?
Larger than B, LC.
Yeah, correct. So I'll check whether it is larger than C because I have my large here. I have compared it with my second number. So if that condition is true, I need to check it with the next number. So I'll be, if again, if it is true means I'll have to just display what? Joseph, after that it is Joel. Joel,
Yes, ma'am.
what value should be displayed now?
Large
Yeah,
number.
correct. Yeah, correct. So I will be just displaying that large number because after checking all these conditions, whatever is large would be there in large. So I'm just displaying my large and I can stop. Now the other thing can happen. That is what I have initially said. That is 10 and 50. In that case, I have to change this, right? Because initially large would be 10. I have to, if these two are the number, this is A, and if this is B, what I have to do is I have to change my large to 50. So if that was the case, what I'll do, I'll swap that large. And again, I'll have to compare it with C. Similar to that, if large is not greater than C, I'll have to swap that large. Again, I have to display large. So this is the largest of three numbers. Have you understood it? Yeah, that is correct. Display large should be in the parallelogram. Sorry, I'm copying and pasting it. So sometimes the symbols might change. So it should be, it is output. So this should be the parallelogram. So is it okay? Have you understood? So, okay, draw the flowchart and let me know after completing it. Okay, I'll wait till 11:35. Okay, 11:35. Okay, I hope you have understood and you have completed it. So we'll move on to the next one. So now I have to find the even numbers up to a given limit. So even number means what? Again, I'll ask Jishnu, what is an even number?
200 dividing by 0.
Yeah, correct. So even number means it should be divisible by 2. So that is the next flowchart. So again, I will start. Then I will read the limit Sn because I want to read the, I have to again display even numbers up to a given limit. Now what I have to do is I have to initialize again. This would require looping because I need to check up to a given limit. So this limit can change. It can be 50, sometimes it can be 10, it can be 5, or it can be 20. So it depends upon the user input. So again, I have to initialize my looping variable. And what I will do is I'll have to check the condition. That is, I have to move up to my limit. Even that limit has to be included. So that is why I have given the condition I less than or equal to n. Now what I'll do is if the limit is less than or equal to n, if that condition is true, what I have to do is I have to now check whether it is divisible by 2. In order to check whether it is divisible by 2, in programming, this is the symbol that we'll be using. That is the percentage symbol. It is called as modulus. So if I do this, if it is equal to 0, if the remainder is equal to 0, that means a remainder equal to 0 means that would be an even number. So I'll be again displaying I. Here also I've copy pasted the symbol. So here also it should be parallelogram, not the rectangle. So again I will be displaying I, and again because I have to go and do it up to a certain limit, what I'll be doing is I have to increment that I is equal to I plus 1. Then after that, again I'll be repeating the loop. If the condition is not true, means I can come out of that loop. So I'll be stopping it. And again, in this case, that is I mod 2, if it is equal to 0, the other case can happen, that is odd numbers. So in the case of odd numbers, I should not be displayed. So I will just increment my I and take the next number. So that is why again I have a no condition here, and I have just displayed the whatever, incremented the value of I. So this is for odd numbers. Odd numbers need not be displayed. This is for even numbers. So remember, it should be parallelogram. So is it okay? Have you understood? If you have understood, please message in the chat. So why no response for this one? Okay. Okay. So draw this one and let me know in the chat after you have completed. So I guess some of you have completed. So I hope you don't have any doubts regarding the flowcharts. So this is the last class that I'll be officially taking for flowcharts. From the next class onwards, we'll be starting with the C, the actual programming side. So for today, you'll be having a small homework. I'll be posting it in the classroom. You have to do it and you have to submit before 8 p.m. today. So that is for today. Okay, thank you. You may leave the classroom.